Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. More signs of the coming of the Mahdi, arrival of the Mahdi. They are already here. And I'm going to be mentioning to you something that happened only last week. This report, this event, gives us solid clues that we are at the very end of time when the Mahdi, the Dajjal, is about to appear. And before I say that, I want to tell you this. Allahu A'lam, He knows. Allah knows only. We do not know. But we look at the signs and we say perhaps, just perhaps, it is very, very, very close. We do not claim anything. We do not say signs are here, therefore Mahdi is here. We do not claim anything like that. Allah knows the best. But we look at the signs. So what is that one particular sign that I want to tell you about? There was this huge event that took place last week. People from all around the world, big people, like people who are in power position, people who are billionaires, all the wealth in the world, they have everything. You can say these people, this gathering, they hold the key to everything. Wallahi, literally. They are so powerful. They gathered. So it tells you that the event was very, very important. Otherwise, they will not come, all of them together. You call, the head of state, the prime minister, the president, the billionaires, everyone. And that was the COP26 summit that took place in Glasgow, England. Now, that is not the sign, right? People gather, we know, all the time. That's not a big deal. What's the big deal? People go to UN, United Nations. What's the big deal? The big deal is what came out from that gathering, from that event. This is why it is the big deal, and it should be, and it should worry all of us. Wallahi, it should worry all of us. So what happened is United Nations, or the global climate change warning that they had, they set a target that we can allow the world to warm up 1.5 degrees Celsius more by 2030. They said it is something we can allow because we do not have any other option. And if it does go beyond that, we will see. But 1.5 degrees Celsius is inevitable. We cannot stop it. So yes, we can allow it for now by 2030. Now they are saying that 1.5 degrees Celsius is going to actually double up. And that could be 3 degrees Celsius increase or 2.5. And that would mean that the world is going to become a place that would not be habitable. Why? Because of the global warming, there will be extreme heat waves, crops will be destroyed, and droughts will happen. Literally, this is what the newspaper mentioned, after they released that news. Even after the Glasgow summit 2030, the target they had, even after all of this, people met, all the head of state and good billionaires, all the people met, they cannot stop this from happening. In other words, dear my sisters, the prophecy, the Prophet said two things I want to make mention of. Number one, the Prophet he said the Arab land will become Muruja wa Anhara. It will become land of lusciousness and river, and a lot of water will, in other words, be seen in that part of the world. It tells us because of the global warming, because of the ice melting, Saudi Arabia, the Middle Eastern countries, will be deluged by a lot of water. They will be flooded. That way, this prophecy will be fulfilled. Number two point I want to mention to you is this report directly, not indirectly, directly mentions the word drought, famine will take place. What we know from hadith, that the Dajjal, when he will appear, there will be drought. First year, 1/3, second year, 2/3, third year, no rain at all. That is going to be a big possibility given what we have today with all the information that coming from this Glasgow summit. In other words, all the alama, all the indications about coming of Dajjal, the Mahdi, dear sisters, and the signs are right now happening in front of our eyes. A lot of people are sleeping that do not know. Now, something I want to mention to you, very, very important and very, very interesting. Actually, more important than interesting, because wallahi, when I was talking to you guys the other day, some of the people, they mentioned something that is not true, very, very outrageous. So I'm going to be mentioning to you a few very, very important points. Okay, number one, we know Ibn al-Qayyum rahimullah. Okay, Ibn Qayyum rahimullah, who is a famous student of Ibn Taymiyyah, he said about the Mahdi, because we need to talk about the Mahdi more in details. A lot of you have misconception about him, especially his location, and people are now claiming he is not necessarily an Arab. So Ibn al-Qayyum rahimullah, famous student of Ibn Taymiyyah, he said that the Mahdi is going to come from the progeny of Hassan radiallahu an. Why Hassan? Is because Hassan radiallahu an, he gave up Khilafah, and Hussein radiallahu an, he wanted Khilafah, but he couldn't get it. Because Hassan ibn Abi Talib radiallahu an, he gave up Khilafah for the sake of Muslim unity, Allah Azza wa Jal will bless him with a Khalif named the Mahdi. That's according to Ibn al-Qayyum rahimullah. On the other hand, you also have Hussein, who is also a good candidate. In fact, Shia, they believe that the Mahdi will come from Hussein. We, the Sunni, we believe he is going to come from Al-Hassan. Regardless of what it is, we know for a fact the Mahdi is not a non-Arab. People now, this is outrageous, claiming that the Mahdi can be from Pakistan. The name Pakistan is coming up over and over again, and this is because of people spreading false rumors, false gossip, and they are propagating these lies all the time. This is why it is happening. So the name Pakistan is coming up again and again. The Mahdi will have long forehead, and this was reported in Sunan Abi Dawud. The eyebrows will be aquilined. Okay, sorry, the nose will be aquilined, like a very sharp nose, very prominent nose. This is the description, and he will have a forehead that is going to be big. Now, even though we do have this description of the Mahdi, how he will look physically, but he would not look like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. People say, how come that is possible? How come Mahdi will not look like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Ali ibn Abi Talib narrated that the Mahdi will resemble the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his akhlaq, in his manners, but not in his facial the facial look. He will not resemble with the Prophet in that regard. Now, one thing we also know about the Mahdi, dear my sisters, and we tend to believe, this is very, very important too, that Mahdi is someone who is very, very righteous. Okay, someone who is very, very righteous. People will look at him as a role model. Young generation look at him as a hero, but that is not the case. The Mahdi is not being raised as someone who is a local hero, someone as a role model for the younger generation. No, none of that. In fact, Allah Azza wa Jal will rectify him in one night, make good of him. We know, all of us, this hadith, that Allah will rectify him in one night. Now, see, the thing is, people also say, well, look, the Khilafah, okay, 3 sons of Khalifa will fight for your treasure. So they refer it to MBS and these current Saudi rulers. They say, well, these people are fighting, therefore the Mahdi must be coming from the east, means Pakistan. The sons of Khalif, they are from Saudi Arabia. And at that time, when they will be fighting for your treasure, trying to unearth the treasure, the Muslims, the treasure will belong to the Muslims, but because these three sons of Khalifa are fighting, there will be a civil war. Their action of taking possession of that treasure will give rise to an unrest in Mecca and Medina both. The Mahdi will run from Medina and he will come to Kaaba, Mecca. And there, dear brothers and sisters, we know people will give him bayah. Now, the treasure that we talk about, a lot of you do not know what kind of treasure we are talking about underneath the Kaaba. It is mentioned, some narration, that the treasure will be underneath Kaaba. This is a treasure that the Quraysh, they buried under the Kaaba when, the tribe of Jurhum buried under Kaaba when neighboring tribes, they were coming to attack them. They said, we do not want them to have this treasure, and at the same time they buried Zamzam. The well of Zamzam was buried so that they could not find it. So neighboring tribe, they would not be able to see Zamzam water, nor they will find the treasure. Dear brothers and sisters, if you take a look at all of these evidences, it is obvious that the Mahdi is going to be coming from the Arab people, the Arab land. And we need to, this is my final point, we really wallahi need to stop peddling this rumors, this false news that he is not an Arab or that he is coming from India, Pakistan. That is not true. Inshallah, you can leave a comment. I would go through some of your comments here. Brother Sabine Chivi, nice, hi. Yasin Mujahid, Alia Atar, hi. Hi Alia. Faisal Khan, Yasin Mujahid, Mahdi is mixed blood of Bani Israel Muslim. Okay. I don't know, Brother Yasin Mujahid, if you can share your reference, that would be appreciated. Let me know what is your reference. Jazakallah khair for tuning in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.